Why is trusting in Allah considered the ultimate solution for all matters? Excellent question. Trusting in Allah is the solution for a believer in everything, because biyadihil mulk, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ultimately in control of everything. And the simple matter is, no matter what obstacle that comes up, no matter what difficulty you face, no matter which challenge arises, it's there by the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these difficulties and obstacles come with a wisdom. They're there because of a tremendous wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. And He chose these things out of His wisdom. So, trusting in Allah entails leaving the matter to Him. Trusting in Allah entails doing everything you can to practically ensure success, and then leaving the result to Him. And as I say, why is it so important? Because there is no other choice. In reality, Allah's in control. Yes, we choose our decisions. We have free will in that regard. But the way the world unfolds, and many things are not based on free will. Many things occur. Like, for example, a few years ago when the COVID virus came about. And you can say, yeah, it was a big conspiracy and it was manufactured in a lab or whatever. The fact that it existed, it spread all over the world, it was the will of Allah. So, a believer knows Allah's in charge. A believer knows Allah wants what's best for us in the long term. And a believer knows that putting his trust in Allah is something beloved to Allah. Inna Allah yuhibbul mutawakkilin. Allah loves those who put their trust in Him. And part of trust entails, the word tawakkul, related to the word tawkeel, is when you choose someone you choose someone to take care of the matter for you. Right? So Allah, you say, oh Allah, you do this for me. And it's important to realize that tawakkul also entails leaving the outcome to Allah as well. So, someone thinking, well, you've gone and proposed to so-and-so, and you're discussing it, and you think, okay, I leave it to Allah. Allah will make it happen. Allah will make me marry this person. And then, no, Allah might have a different plan for you. So what tawakkul entails is taking the means and then leaving the result to Allah, to let Allah's plan unfold for you, and not to be specific about one outcome. No, it has to be this. Otherwise, I put my, for someone to say, I put my trust in Allah and I was let down. No, you put your trust in what your idea of what Allah is going to bring. So putting the trust in Allah is taking the means, asking Allah, relying on Allah, and accepting what He brings at the end. And so someone who does this is always taken care of by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'll give you one example. There's a story of a Syrian sheikh who passed away in the last century, Shaykh Abdul-Rahim Reasat. And so he was an imam. He didn't earn much, and Shaykh Abdul-Aziz had radiallahu anhu had the practice of praying, doing his wird of the Quran in his nafil prayers, in his witr, and in these times, because if he was sat there with the mushaf, people would come and disturb him. So anyway, one day he was a Hanafi. He's praying the witr prayer, and the local shopkeeper came and sat down, waiting for him. And what happened is, it's a common practice in the Arab world, in other places as well, where you go buy all of your groceries from the local shop, and you don't always have money on you. So they have a tab. They write down the credit of everything that's owed, and then every so often the people go and pay off. So the man came, and Sheikh Abdul-Aziz, him and his family, they owed a certain amount. And the shopkeeper came and he sat next to him. And so Shaykh Abdul-Aziz, when he finished his prayer, he said, gave salam to him. Are you okay? How are you? He said, I'm sorry to disturb you, but I've just got, I just need to pass you this receipt, basically, of what's owed. And so he looked at it, and Sheikh Abdul Aziz's monthly income was at that point 1,000 liras, Syrian liras, and this had come up to like 10,000. So it's a lot. It just hadn't been paid in a while. They hadn't asked out of respect to him. People go to the shop, his family, and everyone, they go. And so it piled up. So Sheikh Abdul Aziz said, don't worry. Yeah, we'll take care of it. And the man said, no, take your time. And the reason why he's come is because he needs the money. It's obvious, right? But he was still being polite. And no, yeah, Sheikh, take your time. There's no rush or whatever. And Sheikh Abdul Aziz said, don't worry, Allah will take care of it. So he continued with his prayers and put his trust in Allah. And this is when Allah takes care of a person. So he's walking home, and he got a call from one of his daughters. And she said, there are some people here, they've been brought here by so and so. They've come from Saudi Arabia, and they've heard you've got a brilliant library of books, and they want to buy your library, right? Oh no, they've come to see you. She didn't mention the library, but he kind of guessed in his heart, he had a feeling they've come to buy the library. And to a person who's been studying and teaching, in a library is your means of livelihood. And his speciality was in the qira'at. So he said to his daughter, go into the library and take all of the books on qira'at out. Move them to another room, because he doesn't want to part with them. He didn't say to her they're coming to buy it, but he just had a feeling. So move them to another room. So when he got home, those books have been removed, and they came and said, Assalamu alaikum ya Shaykh, we've set up this institute in Saudi Arabia. We want a library for it, a curated library. We've heard you've got one of the best ones going. So we'd like to see your library. So he showed him the library. And then they said, okay, we want to buy your library. And Sheikh Abdul Aziz, the Syrians have this kind of a problem, a proverb that if you don't want to marry your daughter off to someone, just ask for a really high mahar, right? And then so he said, I'm not going to part with them for anything less than 100,000 liras. And the guy said, deal. And he opened up a briefcase and took wads of money out and bang, bang, put them all down and laid them up, 100,000 liras. And so he said, okay, right? So he said, tomorrow the people will come in with boxes, they'll take all the books away. So he sold the books. So he was 10,000 in debt an hour before this, and now he's got 10 times that amount. So he went the next morning after Fajr, and he sold he paid off his debt, and then he went, I think it was from Halab, and then he went and he replaced his entire library for about 5,000 liras. So he's got 85,000 now. And then what he did, he ended up building, or having a building constructed with a number of flats, so apartments where he and his children, they all had a living space of their own. And this is something Allah just gifted to him. And this is obviously, it's someone who spent years training his tawakkul, someone who spent years drawing closer to Allah, someone who spent years putting Allah first. And in the end, this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took care of the matter for him. So don't expect something as dramatic, on day one. But, inna Allah yuhibbul mutawakkilin. Allah loves those who put their trust in Him. And sometimes you just got to say, the problem's here, I leave it to Allah. I can't do anything about it. And Allah is the one that facilitates all these matters.
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.